Fani Willis, the biggest Fanny in Georgia. You guys know her. You guys all love her. She is the most corrupt district attorney in the entire United States. Well, possibly. She has an office that is just rampant with corruption, and it just never stops. She went after Donald Trump for RICO charges, and she is going after Young Thug, the rapper, for the same charges, RICO charges. Now, I'm not here to defend Young Thug, but surprise, surprise, that trial itself is wrought with corruption. But one thing Fani does not like above everything else is criticism and people making fun of her. And if you look right here, Fani Willis went to a church service. This was, I believe, 2 days ago. And she actually gave a sermon, the entire service. It was like 45 minutes long. It was just like a normal sermon. She gave a sermon, but in that sermon, she started to complain about the fact that people call her name Fani and not, I guess, technically her name is Fani. And she claims that this is because people are over-sexualizing a black woman and they're attempting to humiliate her. And it's like silly schoolboys because the name reminds them of a woman's rear. Listen.
While they over there running their mouth, I'm over here paying them no mind. See, I'm so tired of hearing these idiots call my name as Fanny in a way to attempt to humiliate me. Because like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear.
Well, I think it's important for Fani Willis to realize the reason why people make fun of you in this way is because they have no control or power over the things that you do, over the corruption that is happening in Fulton County. When people see rampant corruption from a district attorney in their office, they tend to not like it. They tend to want it to end, and they wish that they could do something about it. But usually the only thing that you could do about a situation like that in Fulton County, where it's just corruption everywhere, is expose it and hurl insults at the ones who are perpetuating the corruption. So, Fani Willis, if you want the insults to stop, may I give you a piece of advice? Step down as district attorney, and I bet most people would just stop talking about you. But the newest evidence of corruption coming out of Fani Willis DA's office is in this Young Thug YSL trial. Now, YSL stands for Young Slime Life. And it looks like the DA's office told a state witness that he could lie on stand. Now, they wanted to keep this a secret, obviously. This is a conversation that they had in the judge's chambers with the judge, the prosecution, and the witness. Now, it got out somehow. And this guy right here, on the right here, Brian Steele, found out about this conversation. And he brought it up to the judge like, hey, what's going on? This is not right. You know, this puts my client in jeopardy. This is not how trials are supposed to run. This is actually illegal. Well, the judge told Brian Steele, hey, I need to know where you got this information from because this was a secret meeting and you're not supposed to know about it. Well, the problem is a secret meeting is illegal. Both parties are supposed to be notified of when a meeting is supposed to take place so they could both be there. But the defense, Brian Steele, the attorney for Young Thug, was not there because he wasn't invited. So therefore, this is illegal. So the judge, because Brian Steele would not tell him how he found out this information, held Brian Steele in contempt of court and sentenced him to 20 days in jail. Yes. And that ultimately got overturned because it was highly illegal what happened in that situation. But according to this is a tweet by me that I read in an article that I made. But defense attorney Doug Weinstein claimed that during Monday's private meeting, Assistant District Attorney Simone Halton told witness Kenneth Copeland that she would not prosecute him if he were to lie on stand. That's correct. So this is an assistant district attorney from Fani Willis's office telling a witness that he would not face prosecution if he were to lie on stand. And this is according to a sworn affidavit in this Young Thug YSL trial. And this is the exchange this situation ultimately stemmed from. This is the lawyer for Young Thug, Brian Steele, talking to the judge, where the judge is very upset because Brian Steele caught him with his hand in the cookie jar. Watch.
What I was told was that Mr. Copeland said...
And you haven't answered my question yet.
I'm not going to answer that question.
You're not?
No, I will not answer that question.
Why will you not answer that question?
Because I want to make sure that what I say is accurate, and I'm not trying to...
No. I'm asking you, how did you get this information?
I'm not telling the court. What I'm saying is based on information...
Okay, well, listen, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then you and I are going to have some problems.
We can have his... I have problems right now.
Okay, I know. Look, I don't want to know about your problems, okay, at this point in time. All I'm asking you at this point in time is, how did you come upon this information? Look, if the case gets reviewed, the record's going to be available for our appellate court and for whatever reason. But it's disturbing that somehow you have surreptitiously gotten information in regards to the court's private ex parte conversation with a party. I mean,
a witness who was sworn in Friday. The court's telling, this is what I was told. If this is not true, not true. This court handed Mr. Copeland.
Tell me how you got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it proprietary?
Or information that you should not be having that was ex parte.
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, let me rephrase that, this court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said actually all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is, why wasn't I there?
Why, sir? I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who tell me who this information was coming from.
I don't want to be held in contempt. Well, I'm not answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not answering
attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I tell you
what, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me if you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you. I'm going to put you in contempt because that is not attorney-client privilege.
Attorney work product privilege. I am not.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell you?
I'm not. You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, I don't need it. I want to continue. This is what I was told. Mr. Copeland made statements that he admitted to killing Donovan Thomas and was.
So that was the entire tense exchange right there. The judge really wanted to know how he got that information, but it turns out that the prosecution, who is from Fani Willis's office, was trying to coerce and intimidate a witness and trying to tell the witness that they could lie on stand. Not only could they, but they should lie on stand. And if he were to lie, that they wouldn't prosecute. So they were trying to coerce a witness into lying on stand. This is Fani Willis's office. This is the same lady, the same DA's office who was prosecuting Trump, who is currently trying to prosecute Trump and his co-defendants in a RICO case. Yeah, let that sink in. And sometimes you got to wonder, how does this lady stay in power if she is so corrupt? There's just no way. Well, actually, there is a way, because Fani Willis, in this same church service that she got all upset about people calling her Fanny, she compares herself, or she says that she is a civic leader. She's telling this to the entire congregation. She tells the church congregation that she is a civic leader who has teamed up with a religious leader to do God's calling. And she also compares herself to this biblical character, Nehemiah, who she describes as a government worker and cupbearer to the king. Listen.
Is that God will team up a civic leader with a religious leader to fulfill his purpose. As he used the civil servant Nehemiah, he put around him a prayer warrior, Ezra. Nehemiah, like myself, was a civil servant, a government worker. He was the cupbearer to the king. And he had to go to the king to ask permission to fulfill his God-given calling.
So according to Fani Willis, what she is doing is her God-given calling. So she can go out there, she can be as corrupt as she wants, but she teams up with these religious leaders and she gets into the churches. She basically gives sermons at multiple different churches, these big black churches all over the Atlanta area. And she's able to spew out her propaganda. And if you want any more proof of how she does this, this is how she stays in power. I 100% believe this. In the same service, she tells the congregation that civil servants and religious leaders must work hand in hand to fight for equity to be achieved. This is how she stays in office. I believe this is a big part of her leverage and a big part of the reason why she has influence and she can continue her corruption all throughout the Atlanta area. And here she says that the church is required to mobilize, and then she encourages the church to vote. Now, who do you think this church is going to vote for? But listen to this.
Because we are living in a time where some folks tell you we want to go back to yesteryear. This must be the civil servants and the religious leaders, hand in hand. Equity will not be just given to us. Power succeeds nothing without fight. We have to continue to fight for justice every single day with all of your talents and all of your being. That means you are required to mobilize, to educate, to stay engaged, and to vote.
So when you kind of start to inspect Fani Willis and the things that she does, and you've got these questions in your head, like, how is Fani Willis able to continue to be district attorney when time after time after time, it's obvious that her office is rampant, or what's the right word? Rot, I guess, with corruption. How is she able to do this? Well, it's because she leverages religion and religious leaders and churches to propagandize the congregation. So they all feel like they are a part of this God's calling that her as a civic leader is carrying out for them. So they are all a part of this plan, God's plan, Fani Willis calls it. So she brings them in this sermon, makes them feel like, hey, we're all a part of this. We're all a part of God's calling. Vote for me because I am the civic leader that will fulfill God's calling. And it's very, very sick stuff, but that is what's going on. And I believe this is a big reason how Fani Willis stays in that office. And she is like the queen. She's like the queen of Fulton County. It's amazing the influence that she has. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think of all this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.